Hello and welcome back to the channel for my BMW R1250RT review. I've done kind of 300-400 miles on this bike. It's one of those bikes that you just want to use instead of the car, and that's really, I guess, its raison d'etre, if I'm being French. It is designed to go long distances in comfort and carry stuff in the panniers, and I've kind of been using it like that. I've been up to Milton Keynes. I'm on my way back from Goodwood. I've just been driving some fast cars around the racetrack there. My life is hard, I know, get your small violins out. And do you know what? It's been a great companion. It's been a great companion. If you want the too long don't watch of this bike, it's don't judge it by its cover, because it handles brilliantly, it's very fast, it's very comfortable, and it's jam-packed with tech. It might not be, you know, a bike that you buy with your heart, but if you just love motorbiking and using a bike all year round for everything, yeah, can't really beat this. But anyway, let's break it down a bit. This isn't going to be a massively long one because I don't want to bore you, and I'm not going to be setting my tripod up. I'm just going to be riding it. So yeah, let's talk about what's new really, because the 1250 engine has been in the RT already. The big news is the new dash, it's 10-inch dash, which is phenomenal. It's lovely. Actually, it's good that they put a big one on, because if they just put the standard one of the GS on, it's so far away from you, it would look small. You would have that Father Ted thing of it's just really far away but big. So yeah, and you can split it and have your trips down the one side of it, and you use the iDrive controller for all of that stuff. It's fantastic. I've not actually managed to get my phone to work with it though, but that's more down to me. There's a USB slot rather in that right hand cubby down there, and a place for your phone, and that's how you connect all that up. I've just had it Bluetooth to it, and I don't think that does the full connected stuff if you just Bluetooth it. Anyway, it didn't work with my iPhone. But yeah, it's super simple, easy to read. BMW, a king of the dash. The red line moves as the engine warms up, so you don't thrash it. That orange triangle is just because this bike is due its first service. I picked it up on about 300 miles and it's now on 600 or something. So it's due an oil change and check over, so that's what that light is for. But yeah, it is a really quite lovely cockpit. You've got your shortcut buttons down here. I know my first impressions I didn't really play with them, but yeah, number 2 takes you straight to the grip heating and seat heating menu, so there are no physical buttons for that other than that. Yeah, there's basically very up-to-date modern BMW stuff, so if you've ridden a GS or anything, you'll be familiar with all of this. In terms of the menus, they're super easy to navigate using switches on the left, so you can get your trip computers and go into settings and all that stuff. But what you probably want to know is, what is this bike like to live with? Well, dead easy, to be honest. It's like a car. It's like a car. You get on it, you go, and genuinely you arrive the other end in more comfort than, well, than my Mini. Was exceptionally good for doing the long distance things, but actually it's brilliant back roads, twisty bits as well. It's, yeah, it tips in easily, it's exceptionally stable mid corner. One minor quibble I do have is if you have it in road mode, that gives you nice soft pillowy suspension, but it does kind of, I don't know, wallow a little bit, I guess, over kind of gentle bumps where the road's kind of like that. You can end up feeling a little bit sick, and I kind of prefer the throttle response dynamic mode, but that makes it possibly slightly too stiff. So I'm sure you can separate the suspension modes out. There isn't a button for that. It's usually there on the GS, but that's the electric screen button, so I imagine I can probably delve into the settings and fiddle about with that. I just haven't worked it out, to be honest, in 2 weeks. And there is a lot of stuff on this bike to fiddle with. There's a lot, from, you know, accessory sockets to central locking, lock your panniers, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot to take in, and yeah, once you're used to it, it's all very straightforward, very easy, and it's just a nice bike. It is £20,000, but this has got options on it to take it to £20,000, such as, I can't remember actually. I should know. I can't remember what packs this has got on it, but it's got the radar cruise at the front, which is very useful, very easy to use. It is a very complete bike, and I've really enjoyed it, to be honest. It's nice. I've been wearing jeans even when it's been kind of 10, 11 degrees, just because you get so much, well, so little, should I say, exposure to the wind and everything. It's just a delight to ride, and I've just been jacket and jeansing it, and you feel like you're in a little cocoon, even more so than on the GS. But you know, when you're done bobbling around, you stick it in dynamic mode, use the blipper down in second gear, and you crack the throttle open. Oh dear. It is proper quick, and it gets a move on. I would say that does encourage you to ride it like a bit of a See Next Tuesday at times. And yeah, the suspension is fantastic and everything else, but there are times when you're hanging on the front brake, slowing the thing down, and you're aware that it is a heavy bike. But yeah, that's kind of rare. The front brakes are amazingly good. But yeah, there are times when you sense the mass of the bike, when you really need to haul down some speed for a corner. And sometimes when you go into a corner a bit too hot, it can get a little bit unsettled. If you're really going for it and your corner entry is a bit rushed and you haven't really planned your way through the corner, it's not a huge fan of that. It's not really a big problem, and you can ride this proper quick through corners. You just need to, you know, take into consideration the mass of it, but otherwise you just drop a shoulder and go for it. And it's on Michelin Road 5 tyres, or whatever they used to be called, Pilot Road, but the 5 version. I've not ridden it in the wet, and but you know, those tyres are great. They're great all round, day-to-day, real-world tyre, so they'll see you right. You're about to expose the RT's main weakness, that is its size. I've got panniers on this, and they are wider than the handlebars, wider than the mirrors, so you have to take that into consideration. So on my hype motor, I'd be nipping down here, not crossing that solid white line, but because I've got panniers on, there's no way I'm going to do this without crossing that solid white line, so here I sit, just making sure I'm not holding up any other bikers behind me, using the very stable, very nice mirrors. Hello. So yeah, the size of it does count against it, and if you're using it as a commuter, whip the panniers off and you'll be alright, because then the mirrors are the widest part of the bike and you'll be able to judge everything to perfection. Right, we're on the move again. I should talk briefly about low speed handling. It's like any other BMW boxer twin really. As soon as you're moving, the weight kind of disappears and the centre of gravity feels so low that it's never going to get away from you. And the quick shifter works really nicely from first, second and third. It's not one of those ones that you just need to ignore it between first and second. You can use it, which makes it really easy to ride around town. I've got the screen in its lowest position at the moment. I kind of prefer it like that until I'm, you know, on a motorway. Just because I'm 6'3", and if I stick it in its highest setting, it cuts across my field of vision in quite an annoying place, and actually I have to still duck my head to get under the screen even in its tallest setting, which is ridiculous because it's a huge screen, bigger than on any bike I've ever ridden, but I guess I'm just too lanky for my own good. Let's go through here. I'm going to sit in the middle of the road. Oh, hello, nice Bentleys. Before I forget, there is one criticism of this particular bike which I have to bring up, even though it's probably just because this bike hasn't had its first service or whatever. The left-hand indicator switch, well, the only indicator switch, this one, is sticky as you like. So once you pushed it in, it gets stuck in, you have to wiggle it. And that means you'll hit the indicator left or right about 3 times before it will activate the indicator. Sounds like a little thing, and it's probably only this bike, but but it's super annoying and kind of dangerous when you kind of think you're indicating and you're not. So yeah, I think the switchgear already needs replacing, or at least lubricating a bit. And if I owned a bike, I would be on the phone to BMW and saying, oh, I'm not happy with that. But I don't, so I haven't. I'm just going to whinge about it in the video. But yeah, really, in terms of negatives, other than, you know, the mass and the fact I haven't got my phone working, it's about it really for whinges on this bike. It's a very boring bike to admit to liking, and you might think that if you buy one of these you're admitting to giving up on life, but I think you're just saying, I don't plan to do any off-roading, so I don't need a GS. I do all my riding on the road, I do it in all weathers, and I want to go big distances in total comfort, and I think that's an absolutely valid reason to buy a motorbike. So have at it. If that sounds like you, this is probably, I don't know, go and try one. It kind of feels a bit like a tool, but it's very enjoyable to ride quickly. And it just makes me want to bugger off to Italy on it and fill my panniers with quattro formaggi and things, and breadsticks. Because it's just that kind of bike that inspires adventure. You know, you could get a GS that would do a similar job, but it's not quite the same thing. Right, let's put that screen up. See, now that screen's annoying me because I can just see the edge of it. Should put it down a bit, really, shouldn't I? There we go. Let's compromise. Pulls from third gear, really low down, really nicely. I mean, the shift cam engine is an absolute bloody peach. If you've never ridden the 1250 engine, go and give it a try, because it's got low down grunt, so much low down grunt, and mid range, and a little bit of top end as well. It's a really satisfying engine to use. It's quite loud actually, the exhaust. When I first fired this up, coming from that R9T the other week, this is a lot louder on a stock exhaust. I think this has got an option pack that has a chrome exhaust. Ooh. I wonder if the chrome one is louder. Fourth gear overtake. Nice, nice. Twisty road test. It's also a bumpy road test. There is a point on this where you're like, do I want to lean it over anymore? But it comes back asking for more. It's fine with it. It is a much more dynamic motorbike in all senses than you probably are expecting. And you can definitely surprise your sports bike owning friends, to use a horrible cliche. I don't like this whole surprising thing. Stay there, Mr. Pickup Truck. But yeah, turns in really quick, holds the line, and you can tighten your line if you need to. Although there is a point where you're like, not sure I want to lean this over anymore. But it's fine, and you can ride it faster than you think, and it's still got a better chassis than my abilities, like every motorbike, to be fair. So yeah, really bloody good fun thing to ride. Right, that's probably enough waffle from me about the BMW R1250RT. Don't know what else you need to know about it really. It's a really competent all-round motorbike that you could live with instead of a car, frankly. It shelters you from the elements, it shelters you from the wind. You can listen to podcasts at very dodgy speeds in your helmet. It's got a really tractable engine, he says, changing down to fourth gear because he was doing, I think, sixth gear at 40 miles an hour. It is refined, it is smooth, it doesn't vibrate horribly. It's got a little bit of character, that shift cam engine, and it's got plenty of poke and cubby holes and technology and screen. It's got everything basically. It's £20,000 once you've added the options that you'll want, so it's not cheap, but you get what you pays for. It's not like you're spending 20 grand on a sports bike and you can't see where your money went because it's all in the engine. It's very much on display. Anyway, that's more than enough of me. Thank you ever so much for watching this slightly disjointed review. I'll see you soon. Like, comment, subscribe, hit my bell. Check out Tim Brody Drive Stuff for car videos, and I'll see you next time. Bye everyone. Bye bye. I feel like my dad riding one of these, but my dad's quite cool, so there you go.